Hello, everyone. It's Wednesday, May 27th, I think. Uh, I wanted to make a video. I'm going to be in Philippians. I'm going to start with the 8th verse, probably read 2 or 3, 4 verses or whatever. Uh, so this was on my mind and heart this morning, so I thought I'd share it with you. And Paul, writing to Philippians, says, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things." He said, "Finally, brethren." Maybe you can't do that when you starting out, but you ought to mature up where finally you can do that. You know, they had the Last Supper. That was the finally. So it said, "Those things which you have learned and received and heard and see in me do, and the God of peace shall be with you. But I rejoice in the Lord greatly that now at the last your care of me have flourished again, wherein you were also careful, but you lacked opportunity. Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned that whatsoever state I am, therewith be content. And I've kiddingly told you before that I live on the state line. My house is in Alabama. The middle of the road is Tennessee. Across the road is Tennessee. But that doesn't mean that I could get discontent over here and just walk across the street and get a new mind. To get a new life, you have to change your mind to change your life. Uh, you have to talk to yourself in a positive way, like David when he encouraged himself. There's a mind virus. You know, we got this epidemic. There's a mind virus that'll creep in and get to working in your mind, and it'll make you sick. It'll make you sick spiritually. Our thoughts are like a magnet. They attract good things. They repel bad things. So that's what we need to do. Uh, Sometimes the way I am, I don't know, I just thought I'd suggest this to you, but sometimes when things are not going too good for me, I look at something out in the future that I'm looking forward to, like going to church tonight. That sets the tempo and the tone of the day. I'm really having a good day because I'm thinking about, I don't feel good in my body. I've got these allergies, but I feel good spiritually that I've got that to look forward to. Uh, And like I say, for me, it's church. You could be looking forward to a meal. You could look forward to seeing someone you haven't seen in a long time. Think on those things instead of the things that's pressing on you that's bad. Uh, Opportunities are found by people that's looking for them. There may be opportunities right around. One person may see them, but the other one don't. They haven't trained themselves to look for them. A bee has a sting, you know, but he's got honey too, and so it's not all. You got to look at every negative. He's got a sting, and make a positive out of it. He's got honey, uh, but some people do just the opposite. They make a negative out of something that should be a positive. Who do you enjoy being around? A dynamic person that thinks good things and makes you up your game, it makes you feel good, or one that's down in the dumps all the time. Uh, you change your mind, you change your life. You are what you are uh, by what you have put in your mind. You got to be before you can do, and you have to do before you can have. Uh, you got to change your thinking. Nothing happens till you change your thinking. Don't never let the kid in you die. Uh, Keep him alive. Keep her alive. Anyone looks better if they have a smile on their face. What the mind can believe and conceive, it can achieve. I told you before, I work on my mind every day. You say, "Well, Brother Dale, don't appear like it's too good to me." Well, I'm working on it. I'm working on it every day. And will be tomorrow. I did yesterday. That's just my daily routine. Don't let obstacles control your mind or make you a mental servant to them. You can play offense or defense. Uh, I I had a boss. I worked for Carnation Company. We got bought out by Nestle Food Company. We sold candy, and us at Carnation wasn't used to doing that. And what we would do is the candy, uh, like like Easter candy, we'd wait to just right before Easter, and we'd start selling Easter candy. Valentine's, the same, all the different seasons. But we had a boss come in, and he said, "We're not doing that anymore. We're not going to wait. We're going to play offense. Y'all been playing defense, and we're going to play offense." We started selling Valentine's candy probably in the fall sometime, and we started playing offense. Uh, Offense. I'm going to have a good day today. I've made up my mind. Defense. Uh, if if the weather's good, I might can have a good day. If they call me, I'll call them. If they shake my hand, uh, I'll shake their hand. That's defense. I believe in playing offense. You don't have to be defeated. You can choose. Like George Jones' song said, choices. You can be a victim or a victor, just whichever one you want to do. You're in charge of your mind. Take charge of it and build a wonderful life, because only you can do that. If you're not fired up, how can you expect somebody else to be fired up? Go to church tonight. I don't know what's going to happen. We don't at our church. But if I'm not fired up, how can I tell them? And after all, I have to do what I'm asking them to do. If I tell them I want them that they should hold their head up, I need to hold my head up. If I tell them not to talk negative about anybody, I should not think negative or talk negative about people. If I tell them don't be up and down, be like a yo-yo Christian, I need to be steady as you go. You're in charge of your mind and your destiny. It's just too important to trust it to anybody else. Have you ever noticed when you buy a car, you didn't even know they had that many of them out there like that? I've got a white Fusion, Ford Fusion. I didn't know that there was that many white Ford. Everywhere you go now, I see them. So that's the way good thoughts are. Once you train yourself to look for them, you'll see them everywhere. Don't worry about what other people have. Just bring all that you have. There's internal voices and external voices, and you have to choose which one that you're going to follow. I had a stent in my heart. As a matter of fact, I've got four stents. I had one in July of 2012. I had one in July 2017. I had two in May the 21st last year. It opens up my heart. But you need one. It seems like some people need a stent right in there to open up their mind. Be a good finder. Whatever you look for and look at, it's just amazing how much you'll find. Don't have pity parties. I've said that before. You keep bringing that up, Brother Dale, because that was an important discovery I made in my life. My mother-in-law, she's been like a spiritual mother to me, and she told me that she had never got anything from God trying to get him to feel sorry for her. You are what you are and where you are because of what's gone in your mind. So just change what goes in your mind, and you can change your life. You plus God is enough. I heard that song at times said, me and Jesus is a majority. And it's a crazy thought that God could raise the dead. Jesus healed blind people and all that. And then we think that he can't handle the little things. I know. It's the kind of, if you just keep on thinking what you've been thinking, you'll keep on doing what you've been doing. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you'll keep getting what you've been getting. If you plant good thoughts, you reap good things. You need to rule your thoughts and not let your thoughts rule you. Take charge. Are you okay with where you are up to now, where you've arrived to, and are you okay with that being where you're going? Feed your mind good things. Uh, you know, I told you before, if my wife had pinto beans, fried potatoes, and cornbread, I stopped at the store and filled up on a candy bar and a Coke and other things like that, I wouldn't be hungry. So don't fill up on junk. Fill up on the good things. Sooner or later, if you put trash in, you're going to get trash out. You are what you eat, physically, as you can see, and mentally and spiritually. I was sitting, or maybe he was sitting, this brother, and he said, "You are what you eat." And I looked and I thought, well, that's what he was telling me. But he meant what I was putting in here is what I was going to become. Life is too short. Our time is too valuable. Man's mind was the first computer that ever was made. God made our mind. It's amazing what the mind can do. We only use just a little small portion of it. Don't worry about anything, but pray about everything. Your thoughts and expectations will set the limits on your life. God meets us at the level of our expectations. And we talked about default settings. You know, you can be typing like Word, and I like a bold print. I can set the bold print, and then the next day I went out of the program. I come back, it goes back to my default. So if I want bold print as my default, I have to set it in my default. It's like a thermostat. You set your thermostat. You don't have to go over there to it every few minutes. If you set it for cool and it starts getting warm, you know if you set the thermostat right, it's coming right back in line where it needs to be. I thought about the little boy that cried wolf. You know, that's the way we do. Some people complain so much over what's going wrong with them that you don't know if they just really crying wolf or what's going on with them. I don't ever remember reading about Jesus complaining myself. I mean, none of my heroes did, I can tell you that. The people that Jesus met along the way were always better after meeting him. What about you? Are people better for meeting you? Michael Jordan, he talked about the attitude. He said, he just didn't like when people tried not to lose the game. Instead of going all out and win. Is that what you're doing? You're playing defense and you're just trying not to lose? I'd rather build a bridge than a wall. You know, some people, no matter what you say, they build that wall. But, and then there's people that you can say, well, it's bad today, and they say, and it's getting better. They're building a bridge. Fill what's empty what's full, and scratch what's an itch. Brother David Jones told us if you was getting discouraged to build up a fire, put all you could on it, get it blazing as good as you can. Then when you think it's big enough, add a little bit more on it. And if you know that kind of fire sends your eyebrows if you get too close. But he said jump right in the middle of it. And he said if that ought to encourage you. You shouldn't need, if you can get out of there, you won't need very much encouragement from there. People that drive, sometimes they'll have checkpoints for DUIs, and they'll stop at every car. And this is your checkpoint, this Bible. It lets you know. Failure is not falling down, but failure is staying down. We are all faced with a series of great opportunities. They're brilliantly disguised as impossible situations. Happiness doesn't come from getting something. We don't have to, it doesn't come from getting something we don't have, but for recognizing that we already have. Thousands of candles can be lit from just one candle. Big thinking comes before big achievement. David said, is there not a cause? There is a cause. Life is 10% what happens and 90% how we react to it. There's three types of people I heard. Those that make things happen, those that watch things that happen, and those who wonder what happened. I thought about hoarders. That's a show. I don't care to watch it, but they have accumulated all this stuff and thrown nothing away, and it's just overpowered them. If you keep accumulating these negative thoughts, it's going to be that bad spiritually. If you had a place to sleep last night, if you had something in your refrigerator, had a little change in your pocket, you were doing good. Paul said in Acts, I think it was like 26:2, he said, I think myself happy. That's what you can do. You can think yourself happy. Conquerors were victors in their mind before there was anything else. The Bible said, in the beginning, he said, let us make man in our image. I cannot imagine God walking around with his head down all the time. A mayor, I heard a story about a mayor asking his wife if she was glad she didn't marry that man that pumped gas. And she said, well, if I had of, he would have been mayor. And walk confident, talk and think, and act confident. Be confident. People will treat you the way you present yourself. And I've seen class before. Have you ever seen people of class? I don't know how you define it, but I know it every time I see it. So, excuse this phone ringing. A negative always cancels out a positive. I'm not helpless because God is not helpless. Stability is a sign of maturity. And we're always traveling. If we're at church, we wish we were home. If we were at home, we wish we were. If we're at home, we wish we were at church. If we're at church, we're thinking about work. We're just always traveling in our mind. So I apologize for the phone ringing. I think I'm going to let this go. I've got a little bit invested in it by now. And you can just click it off at that point or whatever. But I thank you for listening. I hope this is helping you. And until next time, may God bless you.